What I'm imagining is the facts that I've just stated becoming generally known, so that people know that out there is a million other civilizations. They all look fabulously ugly, and they're all a lot smarter than us. That seems to me useful and a character-building experience for mankind.
I'm not supposed to talk. How do I say it? I've always known I'm not supposed to be talking. And I saw them. I mean, you couldn't miss them.
If anything, they're more curious about us as we are about them.
They wanted to borrow the image, or borrow the negative.
What is that? Because they were in a formation, and I remember seeing something, a flashing light. I couldn't tell the shape of whatever it was.
People are reporting seeing lights in the sky. CDR OTC Air Ground 1. CDR OTC Air to Ground 1.
Are we the real visitors of this planet?
OTC, this is the PLT on Air Ground 1. How do you read?
I copy loud, clear PLT.
Is this truly our place in the cosmos? Many people, including myself, tend to find ourselves spending countless hours looking up at the night sky, using telescopes and other ocular devices, staring at the distant future and past, waiting for the cosmos to communicate with us. When looking up at the night sky, the distant future and past coexist. The answers we're seeking are right above our heads. Every star that you see could be the home of a distant civilization, and they may or may not know about us. They may already be here. A moment in time is on the horizon, where everyone will learn we're not alone, not only in our solar system and in other galaxies, but right here on this planet.
It is now okay to talk about life elsewhere or intelligent life elsewhere, whereas a decade or two ago, it wasn't okay. It was considered too speculative to be worth the investment of time. It's that the number of stars in our galaxy alone is so staggeringly large, of the order of 10 to the 11 or more. The probability of stars having planetary systems is so high, we think perhaps half. The probability that those planetary systems might be comparable with our own, and that the stars have some kind of an ecosphere, a sphere in which the radiation is suitable for life, that it's not too hot, not too cold, meeting the other criteria, seems so reasonable. These bits of information that come from astronomy primarily. And then we join with the biochemists who tell us about the probable evolution of life here on Earth, the kinds of elements that are necessary for it, DNA molecules, amino acids and the like. Amino acids which have now been found in meteorites, that we have now found interstellar molecules floating out into space between stars, so that you know the materials for a carbon-based life exist. We know that many of the building blocks of life in our own solar system exist off of our planet. If you put these kinds of probabilities together, it begins to lead to the sorts of conclusions that we started with as an initial premise, and which apparently no one on the panel has disagreed, and that is that life must exist in the universe, and it must exist quite abundantly.
ACL and CDR OTC. CDR OTC Air Ground 1.
Attempts to communicate with extraterrestrial civilizations is a fascinating and ongoing aspect of humanity's exploration of the cosmos.
OTC, this is the PLT on Air Ground 1. How do you read?
I copy loud, clear PLT.
OTC, CDR, how do you hear?
I got you loud, clear now, Tom.
Throughout history, humans have pondered the possibility of other intelligent beings beyond Earth.
A Viking spacecraft is being readied to land on Mars, carrying an automated chemical laboratory to sample Martian soil for life forms. The discovery of just one bacteria on Mars.
It wasn't until the 20th century that scientific efforts to actively search for and communicate with extraterrestrial civilizations began.
The solar system. Mariner 9 arrived at Mars, equipped to go into orbit. Stay for a while. A good thing, too.
In 1960, astronomer Frank Drake, who created the Drake equation, conducted Project Ozma, the first modern scientific attempt to detect extraterrestrial radio signals. Using a radio telescope, he listened for signals from two nearby sun-like stars. Although no signals were found, the project set the stage for future endeavors. The idea to send out a message into space was proposed by Carl Sagan, an American astrophysicist and cosmologist. Around the same time that NASA was finalizing its plans on the Pioneer 10 and 11 missions, NASA agreed to the suggestion, and it was decided that the imminent Pioneer missions would be used for this experiment. Frank Drake, in collaboration with Sagan and others, began constructing the first three messages that humans would send to be read and interpreted by extraterrestrial life. How do you communicate with a civilization that probably doesn't have the same concept of language as us? That language is science. The first communications were sent out as plaques with inscriptions depicting the basic features of life on Earth.
Flying by Jupiter, Pioneer 10 confirmed estimates that within its atmosphere are combinations of gases similar to those in which life originated on Earth. While a second Pioneer is being aimed to curve past Jupiter and fly by Saturn, Earth-based measurements show that a moon of Saturn, nearly the size of the planet Mercury, contains an atmosphere, water, and surprising warmth.
The Pioneer plaques are a pair of gold anodized aluminum that were affixed to the outer hulls of the Pioneer 10 and Pioneer 11 spacecraft. These plaques were designed as interstellar messages intended to convey information about Earth and humanity to any extraterrestrial civilizations that might encounter the Pioneer probes as they journey through the cosmos. They were designed to serve as a form of a cosmic time capsule, representing humanity's achievements and providing a snapshot of our species and our place in the universe, which were being sent past the asteroid belt and beyond our solar system, one day to be found and read. The Pioneer plaques feature several key elements. This diagram represents the hyperfine transition of neutral hydrogen, which serves as a universal standard of time and space. It depicts the position of our sun and 14 pulsars, serving as a map to pinpoint the origin of the message within the Milky Way galaxy. The plaques included a pulsar map pinpointing the location of our solar system, a depiction of the position of Earth in our solar system, our concept of unit length explained through the simple diagram of an atom. An image of a man and a woman are displayed, intended to be representative of the human species. The figures are depicted in front of the hyperfine transition diagram, providing a sense of scale. This graphic portrays the trajectory of the Pioneer spacecraft as well as the orbit of the planets in our solar system. The trajectory lines indicate the path of Pioneer 10 and Pioneer 11 relative to the sun and the planets. The Pioneer plaques were launched aboard Pioneer 10 in 1972, and Pioneer 11 in 1973, embarking on missions to explore the outer regions of the solar system. While their primary scientific objectives were to study Jupiter and Saturn, the plaques presented a unique opportunity to send a message that could potentially be encountered by intelligent beings beyond our solar system. The launch of the Pioneer probes and their interstellar messages marked a significant milestone in humanity's efforts to communicate with hypothetical extraterrestrial civilizations. The plaques represented a profound expression of scientific and cultural outreach, symbolizing our curiosity about the cosmos and our desire to connect with other intelligent life forms, even in the vastness of interstellar space.
The difference between the spacecrafts of NASA and the lurid flying saucery of that old radio War of the Worlds is the difference between science and science fiction. And yes, between war and peace. It's our own world which has turned out to be the interplanetary visitor. We're the ones who are moving out there, not with death rays, but with camps. Not to conquer, but simply to learn. We are, in fact, behaving ourselves far better out there than we ever have back here at home on our own planet.
On November 16, 1974, a ceremony held at the Arecibo Observatory Radio Telescope in Puerto Rico to mark the remodeling of the newly upgraded telescope, an idea was born where we tried to communicate with aliens. The Arecibo message of 1974, as mentioned earlier, was a highly publicized attempt to send a deliberate interstellar radio message to Messier 13. It was a binary encoded transmission that conveyed basic information about humanity, Earth's position in the solar system, and the Arecibo Observatory itself. It was not constructed as a physical message sent with a probe, but instead was a broadcast via frequency modulated radio waves from the Arecibo radio telescope. During its remodeling ceremony, the message aimed at a star cluster called M13, part of the Hercules constellation, some 21,000 light years away. Oddly enough, the M13 cluster was chosen for no particular reason, except that it was a large and close collection of stars that was available in the sky at the time and place of the ceremony. The Arecibo message was a symbolic attempt to communicate with potential extraterrestrial civilizations and contained information about human DNA, the solar system, and the Arecibo telescope itself. The message was transmitted in binary code and included 1,679 pulses that represented a simple graphical image. The message was a unique experiment in interstellar communication and sparked widespread interest in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. If an extraterrestrial civilization received the message, will they even be able to understand it? We've made the assumption that they can understand it, since they are an intelligent species capable of space travel and communication. The third message that was sent out was an interesting one.
We have ignition and we have liftoff. We have liftoff of the Titan Centaur carrying the first of two Voyager spacecraft to extend man's senses farther into the solar system than ever before.
Known officially as the Voyager Golden Records, are phonograph records that were placed aboard the Voyager 1 and 2 spacecraft. These records were intended to provide information about humanity and Earth to extraterrestrial beings who might encounter the spacecraft in the distant future. The primary objective of the Voyager Golden Records was to create a message that could potentially be understood by intelligent extraterrestrial life forms. The records were designed as a time capsule containing a snapshot of life and culture on Earth in the 70s. The records contain a diverse selection of sounds and images that were chosen to represent the diversity of life and culture on Earth. The content includes greetings in 55 languages, 27 pieces of music from around the world, natural sounds of Earth, such as waves, wind, and animals, and 116 images that depict various aspects of life on Earth.
Hello from the children of planet Earth.
I heard a very fascinating story from someone who knew a lot of people. The type of person that could just pick up a phone, make a phone call, and whatever the issue was, it was solved the following day. This story came from somebody that I am certain was connected and knew President Jimmy Carter. And it involved the golden records and some of the sounds that were placed on those records. And the story goes, when President Carter got in office, and then at the time, Director of Central Intelligence George H.W. Bush was on his way out, President Carter asked about information involving UFOs and the Central Intelligence Agency to provide that information. And that request was denied. Jimmy Carter then gets a surprising response from George Bush Sr. And that response is in the form of audio recording that took place in 1877 on the property of Thomas Edison. He was working on this invention that we now know as the phonograph. And it's been known that the first recording and playback of sound was Mary Had a Little Lamb. And I was told that that is not true. The first recording, knowing that the device was really working, took place one evening when Thomas Edison heard a loud crash on his property. And he went to go investigate. And upon doing so, he came across a disc-shaped object that made contact with a shed or back storage on his property. The phonograph was actually recording the sounds of the UFO crash. This person told me that those sounds were placed on the golden records, and those sounds were launched into space, letting whoever know that was going to be on the other end of that message. This event took place here on Earth, and this is how you can find us. The selection of content for the Golden Record was overseen by a committee chaired by Carl Sagan. The committee aimed to encapsulate the riches and diversity of human experience and culture, as well as the natural world, in a form that could potentially be understood by extraterrestrial beings. The information on the Golden Record is encoded in analog form on two sides of a 12-inch gold-plated copper disc. The content is in audio, visual, and symbolic form, with instructions on how to access and interpret the information provided. The Voyager 1 and 2 spacecraft, each carrying a copy of the Golden Record, were launched in 1977. Voyager 1 is now the farthest human man-made object from Earth and has crossed into interstellar space, carrying the Golden Record as a kind of message from humanity traveling through the cosmos. The creation and inclusion of the Golden Records on the Voyager spacecraft symbolize humanity's curiosity, creativity, and desire to reach out to the unknown. The records serve as a testament to the human spirit of exploration and the quest to understand our place in the universe. The Voyager Golden Records represent an extraordinary attempt to communicate a universal message of goodwill and curiosity to any potential extraterrestrial civilizations. They continue to inspire wonder, contemplation, and discussion about our place in the cosmos and the possibility of contact with other intelligent beings.
The most optimistic estimates, in the view of many, about the number of civilizations that there might be in the galaxy is of the order of 1 million, which means that only one in a few 100,000 stars has such civilizations.
That would mean a billion such places just in our own galaxy that might contain life.
As I believe there's a society of these groups, not just one. There are probably very many. There's only one, we have no hope of finding them. There are probably thousands, maybe as many as 1 million. They probably already have had a long history of this same experience of finding new ones and bringing them into the network.
And I would imagine if an advanced civilization wanted to talk to us, they would say, oh, well, look, those guys must be extremely backward. Go into some ancient museum and pull out one of those, what do they call, radio telescopes, and beam it at them.
In 1970, a study into feasibility for picking up interstellar communication was made in California by a number of radio scientists there, as well as astronomers and others. It's called Project Cyclops. The outcome of that study was that the United States had the technical capability of building a large radio array, which would be able to scan the heavens with fairly great resolution and power sensitivity out to a distance of many hundreds or possibly thousands of light years, with the very distinct possibility of picking up a signal if it were there.
Our present technology is able to detect ourselves anywhere in this galaxy of about 250 billion stars.
In 1976, we're going to be able to explore Mars for perhaps not so humble microorganisms. Before and after that, we'll be searching the planets and the galaxies for clues to fill in the new patterns we're discovering. The evolution of evolutions that has produced us and the possible millions of other civilizations.
It is conceivable that a spherical ship will land in front of the Washington Monument and a figure with 4 antennas and otherwise looking like the professional football player will walk out and demand to see our leader. But I hope very much that the universe of circumstance is wider than the rather shoddy imaginations of science fiction writers for 30 or 40 years. And I'm pretty convinced it is. We've not found their guidance so great in any but the most modest activities, like going to the moon, which is not very much.
There are beings that have been here long before humans. And over time, in our time, we've learned to replicate the technology that we've seen. That's one thing about humans. If we see technology that we're unfamiliar with, we're going to figure it out. Throughout history, our ancestors have found creative ways to show our cultural expressions to those who inhabit the skies. The Nazca lines are a great example of how the human mind, mixed with the resources that are available, can create deliberate and meaningful expressions through art and images that last centuries. Shortly after the AVOD message, the pioneer plaques, and the launch of the golden records, elaborate and deliberate signs of communication and contact, some even in the forms of response, began to pop up in different places of the world, in open fields and places of vast space. Is it possible that crop circles are a response to the AVOD message, the pioneer plaques, or most importantly, the golden records? Crop circles are large, often intricate patterns that appear in fields of crops, usually wheat, barley, or maize. The patterns are created when the crop is flattened in a particular design, and they have been the subject of much speculation and intrigue. Crop circles typically appear suddenly and often overnight. The crops are bent and flattened in a circular or geometric pattern, creating intricate designs that are visible from the air. Many exhibit highly complex and precise geometric patterns, often involving intricate symmetrical designs and mathematical relationships. Some crop circles are simple circles, while others are elaborate designs with multiple concentric rings. Reports of crop circles date back to the late 17th century, but they gained widespread public attention in the late 20th century. The phenomena became associated with mysterious origins, leading to various theories about their creation. Numerous theories have been proposed to explain the formation of crop circles. They range from natural phenomena such as whirlwinds and ball lightning to the actions of hoaxers using simple tools or advanced technology to create the patterns. Crop circles have captured the public imagination, leading to a widespread interest in their meaning and origins. They have inspired artistic and cultural interpretations, as well as scientific investigations into their formation and symbolic significance. Researchers have conducted studies to investigate the physical and biological effects of crop circles, including changes in the affected crops and soils. Some studies have explored the potential role of microwave energy, plasma, and other natural phenomena in the creation of certain patterns. While some crop circles are considered genuine, unexplained phenomena, many have been revealed as elaborate hoax created by human artists using simple tools. However, the intricate and precise nature of some crop circles continue to challenge conventional explanations. Crop circles remain a subject of fascination, debate, and mystery. They have sparked creative expressions in art, literature, and media, while also prompting scientific inquiry into the forces that may be responsible for their creation. The enduring allure of crop circles lies in their enigmatic appearance and the questions they raise about the boundaries between human creativity, natural phenomena, and the unknown. Arecibo answer, it appeared in 2001 near the Chilbolton Radio Telescope in Hampshire in the United Kingdom. The response, on the other hand, was a crafty form of a reply to the original message that was transmitted in the direction of the star cluster M13, which is located approximately 25,000 light years away from Earth. The Arecibo response message was in the form of a crop circle with binary encoded depiction of an unknown species, scientific, and cultural knowledge supposedly transmitted from space to Earth in the attempt to show that our message was received. Despite the fact that some crop circles are known to be hoaxes, the general public believes that this is key evidence of extraterrestrial presence on Earth and that this is undeniable proof that aliens have contacted us. The 2001 response message was designed to showcase updated scientific understanding and technological advancements since the original transmission. It included information about the structure of DNA, the population of beings near human form, and various elements of their system and biology. While the Arecibo response was a symbolic and thought-provoking endeavor, it should be noted that the likelihood of the message being received and deciphered by any extraterrestrial intelligence remains exceedingly low due to the vast distances involved and the limitations of interstellar communication. The concept of sending deliberate messages into space, including the Arecibo transmission and its response, reflects humanity's enduring fascination with the possibility of contact of extraterrestrial civilizations and our efforts to engage in interstellar communication.
First, the people beaming the message will be incredibly alien. Even if their biochemistry resembles the biochemistry Professor Wall teaches, it will not be all that close, you know. It will have enzymes, but it will be the LD situation will be quite different, and I don't know what chains of enzyme systems they will have at all. And you couldn't eat their food, very likely, even though they're the same biochemistry. Any more than we eat the food of a mushroom, it's very difficult to eat that. So I think, first of all, there will be two great phases of this eventual time, which I think will come in 10 years or 100 years, or I don't know, maybe longer, when some satisfactory radio telescope work or something similar will acquire evidence of the deliberate beaming of a message, protracted message out into space. So I think that will be easy and, of course, extraordinarily important. You will know very little of what that message says, say that it exists, and maybe some general geographic information from how far away it's coming, what kind of a star, where. And then I think that you will have pouring into the recorders, week after week, month after month, decade after decade, an enormous body of obviously interesting and meaningful pulses. And you'll be able to read them slowly and fitfully, because they will not be coded, but they'll be anti-coded. That's to say, the people who designed them, the beings who designed them, will have thought very carefully how to make the maximum number of mathematical clues. The best way to single out the meaning will be made available. I think the most important thing that it will bring to us, if we can finally understand it, will be a description, if it exists at all, of how the beings disposing of great technology were able to fashion a world in which they could live and persevere and maintain something of worth and beauty for a long period of time.
When it comes to receiving the messages from the cosmos and contact, there's a system of classifications that have already been put in place for those to understand. There are different types of contact that one can experience, and you don't have to experience them in order. The common thing about UFO sightings is light. Almost all sightings start with light. A close encounter of the first kind as defined by J. Allen Hymek's classification, refers to the sighting of an unidentified flying object at close range. This classification was introduced by Hynek, an astronomer and ufologist, to categorize the different types of UFO encounters based on the proximity and observable characteristics of the object. In a close encounter of the first kind, a witness reports seeing a UFO within 500 feet or less.
If you can, put your hat on as that 15-year-old young man.
Okay.
And I definitely want to hear what you saw, but how did it make you feel?
So based off of the close encounters classification, this would be like a close encounter of the first and second kind. Now, you don't have to experience them in an order. You could, experience abduction, contact, get messages, see something, see a body. Nobody reported seeing any, physical bodies or anything like that. So that excludes contact of the third kind. But when it comes to contact of the first kind and the second kind, there were definitely physical effects. When it comes to me as a 15-year-old boy, I'm thinking about girls, I'm making money, you know what I mean? I'm living my life. But we saw it, when I originally saw it, I was on the Red Line bus coming out of the airport and heading into downtown. I noticed it. What was strange to me, that flight path, and I saw two lights originally. And these lights, they kind of look like helicopters, but to me, that was off because it had to be a serious emergency because you're in the flight path.
Thank you. I was just going to go there.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to be
at all. It has to be.
Even police helicopters can't go over.
Exactly. So it would have to be something like the industrial park down there. Something was on fire, or it had to be pretty serious. But then, within seconds, I was like, those aren't helicopters because, the helicopters have the wobble, the movement, they weren't helicopters. I could definitely tell that. So then we went over the bridge, the old Amtrak bridge, and then I think it's Washington where we made the left. And then, we shifted, but we all got off the bus. And watching it as a young teenager, it was crazy because I was in this awe, like, wow. Looking at these lights, they were like a whitish, bluish. I would say the distance in between each light, maybe 100, 150 feet. Okay. And we're talking about in the air. Now, the thing about where I was, it was probably 250 to 350 feet off of the ground. It was low. And, I have 20/15 eyesight. So this is what made me now as an investigator, made me look at, the quality of eyesight because not everybody has 20/20, let alone 20/15. So what I saw was, it's almost like, like this water bottle. If you hold the water bottle up to this light and you can see the light through the water bottle, but there's the distortion of everything. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, looking at that and it was just definitely something that, I hadn't seen ever. And we're talking about, we're of the age where we had, G.I. Joe, we knew about the SR-71, we knew about these secret programs, and those were used as motivation to get us to join armed forces and, police and military and things like that. But now, it's kind of hidden from, today's generation. But the moment it was gone and we got on the bus, I forgot about it that quick. These encounters are significant because they involve direct visual contact with an unidentified aerial phenomenon, and the detailed nature of the reports can offer valuable data for the investigation and analysis. Close encounters of the first kind have been documented in numerous UFO sighting reports, contributing to the ongoing study of unidentified aerial phenomena and their potential implications. The concept of close encounters has become deeply ingrained in popular culture, thanks in part to its portrayal in movies, TV shows, and literature. The enduring fascination with the possibility of close encounters and the mysteries of the cosmos continue to captivate audiences and stimulate interest in the unexplained. Close encounters of the second kind involve physical effects or evidence that is attributed to the presence of a UFO. This can include things like interference with electrical devices, damage to the environment, or psychological effects on witnesses or animals. Examples of physical evidence associated with close encounters of the second kind include impressions in the ground, burns, or radiation effects, and magnetic anomalies. These encounters are often more compelling than simple sightings because they leave tangible traces that can be investigated and studied. When it comes to close encounters of the second kind, we'll use an incident that I was a part of. It is now known as the infamous Black Mountain incident that took place during the summer of 2015.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Who gets the pop? Oh, the outside. Hurricane Hannah getting the job done here. Throttling the 2 spot. Luna sitting in 3. In and out of the first turn we go. The Hurricane throwing down the storm right now. Leaky, drawn, Luna.
Random start. Riders ready, watch the gate. Ouch.
One of the things that has not been discussed in previous films is how this event took place and the interference that occurred with my camera. How I remember it isn't how the photos show it happened. What I remember is the BMX rider giving me the thumbs up, letting me know he was ready. And as a photographer, being able to shoot BMX perfectly is all about timing. It's the type of sport that involves speed and precision. The rider is going through the first straight, comes around this berm, starts heading in my direction, and I captured 3 shots. As I took the images, I thought I saw something fall off the rider. And because I knew the rider, I immediately began to go over to the area that he had just passed and started looking on the ground for the object that fell off of him. As I go back to my position where I was taking photos, I then notice a black military helicopter flying through the sky. And I took 3 pictures of this helicopter. That is how I remember it happening. But these images show something different, and they show a completely different time in which it happened. When you look at these photos, they were taken on a DSLR, a Canon T5i. When you transfer images from a digital SD memory card to a hard drive, there's a digital footprint which includes information like the day the photo was uploaded to the hard drive, any dates that it was modified. That all includes the digital footprint. Now, the digital footprint of these images and the order of these images does not line up with what I remember. The digital footprint of these images, starting with photo 1, is a plain photo. The Phoenix sky is completely clear with a military helicopter heading from right to left in the image. This is photo number 2, which is that same military helicopter. To the left of the photo, you actually see some clouds. The direction it's traveling, it's south. The third image is that same military helicopter. More clouds come into the image, traveling in the same direction, which is south. And the digital footprint of these photos happened prior to the rider going into the first straight. This image right here proves that this event taking place versus how it actually happened are completely different. This image is the one that still makes this a little unsettling for me, because I do not personally remember taking images of the helicopter prior to the BMXer going through the first turn. But this image proves that I was wrong and it didn't happen how I remember it. Because this image shows the military helicopter in the clouds off in the distance. When we zoom in on this image, you see that same exact military helicopter headed in the south direction. The BMXer has to go through this first turn before he gets to my position, where I take the next 3 and most important images. This image shows the BMXer, the sunset, and 2 people watching him go through the second straight. In the sky is the UFO, and it appears to be moving, but that is in fact not true. It's actually the movement of myself following the rider to capture this image. Now the second image, which is the 6th photo in this set, is perfectly shot. And let's keep in mind, I did not see the UFO prior, but my camera was in the sky because I was photographing the helicopter. And I don't remember photographing the helicopter prior to taking these images. How I remember this event taking place, I took the photographs of the helicopter after this image, but we're learning that's not true. Looking at this image, that UFO is in the sky, and my camera captured the UFO perfectly. It's almost like it's focused on the UFO and not really on the BMXer. But there it is, clear as day. Sunset, same 2 people. It's a much more stable image, which allowed the UFO to show up perfectly. And here's the 7th photo in the set, the 3rd image of the UFO with the BMXer. And this image shows you that I'm following the BMXer and the UFO is still showing stability in the sky. But I don't remember it happening like this. When you put a photo on a hard drive, that hard drive creates the digital footprint in which the photo was added and if any modifications took place during that time. When you look at the digital footprint of this image, it gives you the detailed information, like what kind of image it is, the size, where it was placed, how it was placed, when it was created, and if it was modified, it'll give you that same exact time. This image shows that it was created on August 8th, 2015 at 12:26 p.m. The time inside the digital footprint does not match the time that is shown inside the image. The color of the clouds indicates that it's during the sunset hours. The operational hours of Black Mountain BMX aren't until 6:30. The created and modified date are the same, meaning there has been no modifications to this image. And when you look at the digital information, you can see that there's no way to modify the created or modified date. When we look at the digital footprint of the UFO that is clear, it shows the same date, but the time is 3 minutes prior. So as this was happening, time is going backwards. When you look at the digital footprint of both of these images, there's a 4-minute difference in time. It takes less than 30 seconds to get from the first turn to the image that I was at. When it comes to contact of the second kind, these 2 images not only show digital interference, but a gap in which 4 minutes took place that only requires 30 seconds in time. The timestamp that's inside the digital footprint of these images matches what I remember. The helicopter didn't happen until after the UFO. But the timing and the placement of each one of these images tells a completely different story. The order of these images does not match how I remember this incident went down. However, the timestamps of these images matches how I remember it. The only thing that's off is it didn't happen at 12:27 and 12:23 p.m. It happened after the 6 o'clock hour, because clearly these images are during the sunset hours.
You know, what I know about UFOs is from Steven Spielberg and the great film, Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
This classification, which is the most significant in Heimlich system, involves observations of beings associated with a UFO. The encounter can include sightings of humanoid or non-humanoid occupants near a UFO or within the vicinity of a UFO landing.
You know, at nighttime, and I was like, it looked like there was like a flashlight in my car. And I'm like, what the hell? And I'm looking from this park bench from way off, and when Montana was dark, it's dark, pitch black, you know? But there was a street light where I was in the parking lot, and I was like, what the heck is that? I was like, somebody's in my car robbing my car. So I started walking over towards there, you know, like I'm going to catch somebody robbing my car. And then I'm walking closer, and then all of a sudden it looks like it came, like the flashlight was pointed at me, and it came and was pointed at me. And I was like, wait a minute, that's like two lights. And I was like walking closer, the more closer I got, and all of a sudden I was like, that looks like a reflection, like eyeballs. And then I kept walking to it, and then I was like, no, that's not what I think it looks like. And it was a streetlight reflection off of these big black eyes. And I just kept walking towards it, like thinking, no, this ain't right. You know, I'm just seeing some weird thing because it's dark or whatever. And whatever, it's scary because I'm in the woods, you know? And then I get walking over there, and I get walking closer to it, and I'm like, no, this is my imagination. I don't know what kept me walking towards it after it was like not going away, and I realized this was real. I was like, this can't be. It's not real. It can't be real. So I kept walking towards it, and then next thing you know, I don't remember anything but waking up in a parking lot in another town I had never been in, wondering how I got there with my car, and I'm just like, I thought I had picked up a hitchhiker or something. I don't know. It was weird. It was like I don't know. It's like just like a time lapse, I guess. Like I remember, like I was like, man, was I that tired and I slept like hypnotized driving or something? Because I was like, where the heck am I? And I looked, and it was like I was in a whole other town called Hamilton in Montana that I'd never even been to or knew how to get to, and I had no idea how I got there. And I remember like I was dreaming or something, like I was talking to somebody in my car. And I'm like, well, I don't know where to go. I've never been there. And I was like talking to it. It's weird. And but when I walked up to it, it was like you see like the aliens they show, you know, it has a big almond eyes and stuff, except it had teeth. And it was kind of just like turning its head at me, like looking at me, like, why is this guy coming up to me? And I was like, this can't be real. And next thing you know, for the next few days, I kept having weird things that I even lost my memory and like forgot who I was, like who I was. And I've never had that happen in my life. I woke up in a parking lot at some gas station, and I'm like, where am I? And then I'm like, who am I? And it took for me like a good half an hour to 45 minutes before everything started flooding back to me. And that had happened to me several times. It was pretty weird, man.
Steven Spielberg's film Close Encounters of the Third Kind helped to popularize the idea of different levels of UFO encounters and brought attention to Heimlich's work in the field of ufology. Abduction is a fascinating and controversial phenomenon that has captured the imagination of people around the world. The concept revolves around the idea that individuals have been taken against their will by extraterrestrial beings known as aliens. These alleged abductions often involve claims of being subjected to medical experiments, examinations, and communication with the alien entities. The concept of alien abduction gained widespread attention in the 20th century, particularly after the iconic case of Barney and Betty Hill in 1961. The Hills reported a detailed account of being taken aboard a spacecraft and subject to various procedures by non-human entities. Since then, numerous individuals have come forward with similar accounts of alien abduction, sharing stories of being taken aboard UFOs and experiencing encounters with alien beings. These stories have sparked debates about the existence of extraterrestrial life and the potential of implications for humanity. While skeptics dismiss these accounts as hoaxes or products of sleep paralysis and false memories, proponents of the phenomenon argue that the consistency and emotional impact of abduction experiences cannot be easily dismissed. The psychological and emotional effect on abductees have led to further research into the nature of these experiences. The Barney and Betty Hill abduction is one of the most well-known cases in the history of UFO encounters and alien abductions. It took place on the evening of September 19, 1961 in rural New Hampshire. The Hills were driving home from vacation in Canada when they observed a bright light that seemed to move erratically in the sky. As they continued their journey, the light appeared to follow them, prompting Barney to stop the car and use binoculars to get a closer look. What they claimed to witness was a large, silent, and pancake-shaped craft with a row of windows. Terrified, the Hills quickly drove away, but their sense of unease persisted. When they finally arrived home, they realized several hours had passed, and they couldn't account for the lost time. They also found that their clothing was inexplicably torn and covered in a pink powder, and Barney's binocular strap was broken. Following this unsettling experience, the Hills underwent hypnosis in an attempt to recover their missing memories. Under hypnosis, they recounted a detailed and disturbing story of being taken aboard a craft by small humanoid figures with large, black slanted eyes. They described medical examinations and probing conducted by the beings. Their account gained widespread attention, leading to extensive media coverage and public interest. The Hills case is often regarded as the first widely publicized instance of alien abduction, and it has had a profound influence on popular culture and the public's perception of extraterrestrial encounters. The Barney and Betty Hill abduction remains a subject of debate and fascination within the UFO and paranormal research communities. While skeptics offer alternative explanations, proponents argue that the Hills experience provides valuable insight into the nature of alleged alien abduction and its potential implications for humanity. The enduring legacy of the Barney and Betty Hill case serves as a prominent example of the enduring mystery and intrigue surrounding the phenomena of alien abduction. The study of alien abduction has also found its way into popular culture, with numerous books, movies, and television shows exploring the theme. The allure of the unknown and the possibility of contact with otherworldly beings continues to captivate audiences and fuel further speculation on the nature of alien abduction. In conclusion, alien abduction remains a complex and enigmatic topic, invoking questions about the nature of perception, reality, and the existence of extraterrestrial life. Whether seen as a genuine phenomena or a product of human imagination, it continues to be a subject of fascination and debate, shaping our perception of the cosmos and our place within it.
Via the FOIA, the FOIA, to where we can, get that footage and show the world.
Yeah, it used to be when people had these sightings, again, it was desolate highway, no one had phones and cameras capability, so it was just eyewitness account, and then immediately there would be something in their history that would show something where, okay, they would be able to discard it, if you will, the mainstream media and so forth. But just recently, within this, last year, now we're in 2024, but they had congressional hearings regarding, and now they even changed the nomenclature. Instead of UFO, it's what?
UAP.
Thank you.
Yep.
The aerial objects opposed to unidentified flying. Mm-hmm. They've legitimized this. Mm-hmm. And then filmmakers like yourself that take this on and then talk to credible people. Mm-hmm. We're talking about a cop, a dispatcher. Mm-hmm. These and again we're at that unidentified. We don't know what it is, but there's more questions than answers. But certainly there's no answers that can make this something that's of this world. Is that a fair statement?
Binary code transmitted by a landed UFO at RAF Woodbridge Brentwaters. The Rendlesham Forest Incident, also known as Britain's Roswell, is one of the most well-documented and compelling UFO encounters in history. It took place in 1980 near the twin military bases of RAF Bentwaters and RAF Woodbridge in the United Kingdom. The incident began when a series of strange lights were reported by the U.S. Air Force personnel stationed at RAF bases. The first sighting occurred on the night of December 26, 1980, when security patrols observed unusual lights descending into Rendlesham Forest. A team was dispatched to investigate, and they reportedly encountered a metallic triangular craft emitting colored lights and displaying unexplained aerial maneuvers. The incident began when a series of strange lights were reported by U.S. Air Force personnel stationed at the RAF bases. One of the personnel went up to the craft and placed his hands on it and began to see nothing but ones and zeros. Over the next 2 nights, additional sightings and encounters occurred, including reports of anomalous readings on military radar systems and first-hand observations of the mysterious craft. Witnesses described physical effects such as radiation exposure and residual indentations in the forest ground where the craft was said to have landed. The incident gained widespread attention, especially after it was investigated by Deputy Base Commander Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt. Halt documented the events and recorded his observations in an unofficial memo to the UK Ministry of Defense, highlighting the compelling nature of the encounters and the unexplained phenomena witnessed by military personnel. The Rendlesham Forest incident has continued to captivate UFO researchers, skeptics, and public, leading to numerous investigations, documentaries, and debates surrounding its significance and possible extraterrestrial origins. The case remains a prominent topic in UFO lore and is often cited as a compelling example of close encounters and unexplained aerial phenomena. The enduring mystery and multiple credible witnesses involved in the Rendlesham Forest incident have contributed to its status as a landmark event in the study of UFO encounters and has fueled ongoing speculation about the nature of the unidentified craft and the potential implications of its presence. The enduring mystery and multiple credible witnesses involved in the Rendlesham Forest incident have contributed to its status as a landmark event in the study of UFO encounters and have fueled ongoing speculation about the nature of the unidentified craft and the potential implications of its presence.
And finally, it would end our social and cultural isolation. To date, we have been bounded not only into our own countries and into our own small regions on this planet, but most assuredly within our solar system itself. If there are the tens of billions of other civilizations which the predictions indicate might be, then we would join a larger galactic community.
The Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence Institute, also known as SETI, founded in 1984, has been at the forefront of efforts to detect radio signals and other signs of extraterrestrial life. SETI researchers use radio telescopes to scan the cosmos for potential signals that could indicate intelligent life. Messaging extraterrestrial intelligence is a more proactive approach that involves deliberately sending messages from Earth to potential extraterrestrial civilizations. This controversial practice raises questions about the potential risk and ethical considerations of initiating interstellar communication. The cosmic call messages, initiated in the 1990s, involving beaming messages from Earth toward specific star systems using powerful radio telescopes. These messages contained information about Earth and human civilization intended for potential extraterrestrial recipients. The Breakthrough Listen Project, part of the Breakthrough Initiative programs, is a comprehensive effort to search for extraterrestrial intelligence. It involves scanning millions of stars for artificial signals using some of the world's most powerful telescopes. These milestones represent just a few examples of the ongoing quest to communicate with extraterrestrial civilizations. As our understanding of the universe and our technology continues to advance, the search for signs of intelligent life beyond Earth remains a compelling and enduring pursuit.
The discovery of just one bacteria on Mars, or any other body of the solar system, would indicate that the whole chain of evolutions, cosmic, chemical, and biological, is at work everywhere. In that case, the creation of life anywhere in the universe would be more the rule than the exception. In that case, there may be other intelligent civilizations capable of communicating with us. The impact on ourselves of contact with another intelligent civilization, how it might come about and what the effects might be, is now being discussed by serious thinkers the world over. He includes astronomer Carl Sagan, anthropologist Ashley Montague. Krista Stendhal is Dean of the Harvard School of Divinity. Professor Berenson teaches a course titled Search for Life in the Universe. Professor Philip Morrison of MIT co-authored the first seriously reasoned paper on possible modes of communication with extraterrestrial life. George Wald won the Nobel Prize in 1971 for his work in physiology.
you know, it's so fascinating when you know about the Phoenix Lights. And like he was saying, there's a lot of stuff that's happened here in Arizona that people don't talk about. And, you know, going on the Native American reservations, you see a lot because there's no city lights. And now where I live, out in the boondocks in the dark, I'm just looking forward to seeing if I see any unfamiliar life or any unidentified flying objects, because it really is kind of a cool thing to see, isn't it?
It truly, and to spin off of what you said before you go, I just actually yesterday I went and interviewed a Hopi elder. I've been trying to get this guy to talk for 4 years, and to the importance that it's history. You know, it's like, you know, we got Sheriff Joe to talk about UFOs and things like that, but to get a Hopi elder to sit down on camera and talk, and that's coming very soon. I'm fast tracking that. But so to hear you talk about, you know, reservations and native land and stuff, yeah, it's a lot. They got a story that, I mean literally, and I don't want to get too deep, but he mentioned why 90% of the Grand Canyon is off limits and who actually inhabits that. And yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh,
interesting.
Yeah.
So we're going to hear that in your movie?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to watch it. And for those listening, I hope you enjoyed this show. And that was...